Hey, hey, hey! Welcome to Star's Train of Thoughts podcast, where we openly talk about stories and experiences about the random messes and realities of life. If you're looking for ways to equip yourself and basically survive this life, you're in the right place. I'm Star Encarnacion, your host.
Hey guys, and welcome back to another podcast episode. I have been missing few episodes for this month. I only released or produced one podcast episode for the entire December, and that was last December 9th, which was about my last depression episode. And currently, right now, I'm in the middle of another anxiety and depression episode actually. I actually had a bad day, but I was trying to move about it because I needed to work. I had to work. So I was setting aside what I felt, what was inside me, and I just had to check on a lot of papers, do my usual in the clinic, checking patients, and even did some, inventories. There was actually a time earlier today that I had to step out of the clinic and, find a safe spot in the mall and just, let it out. Breathe in and out and, just putting out there. I didn't even talk to somebody. I just needed to step away and be away from the people that I know. And I actually found a good spot in the mall where I can be alone. And then there I was just, breathing in and out. And I was just affirming myself. I was just trying to control myself. It was surprisingly helpful because the usual thing that I would do when these attacks come, I would rather go to sleep and cry myself out, but I couldn't do it because I was at work. Yeah, that is what happened earlier today, and the whole day I was having bits and pieces of mini anxiety attacks. So I was kind of hoping to just rush out of work and go to bed. When I reached home after I took a bath, I went to sleep. And that was around 8 o'clock in the evening. And when I woke up around 11 in the evening, the pain was still there. I was still kind of depressed. And I ended up crying. I don't know what's with me, why I love to cry so much. I think it's my way of really processing things. So I cried it out. It was actually fortunate for me to reconnect with a good friend of mine way back in grade school. And we ended up talking about mental health as he was also experiencing anxiety and he is away from the family, he's in another country and he's dealing with these things alone. He was open about taking anxiety meds. And for me, I was actually conscious about, talking to people about taking meds because most of my friends are recommending counseling, recommending psychology, talking therapy. I would love that, but in this day and age, in this season right now, I would definitely go for, face to face counseling. And what they recommend or the rehabilitation clinic that I went to was offering counseling but with an online session. And I don't think that would be applicable for me or that would help me. That's why I didn't go for it as of now. And while I was talking to this friend of mine, I realized every person who is struggling with these mental health disorders or issues have different steps of actually processing things, different steps of healing, different ways of helping themselves. And upon listening or hearing about his story, it made me realize that it really is a good thing to be surrounded or to be heard by the same group of people who have undergone the same thing as well. People who also had depression, anxiety, mental health struggles. And it's such a safe place to, communicate and relate to one another. And I do appreciate those people who understand me for me and don't judge me for what I have because mental health issues doesn't define who you are. You have those struggles, but you are not defined by those things. It doesn't become your identity. And that's one thing that I always carry with me. It's one thing that I always remind myself that it's okay to have these things. It's okay to admit to yourself that it's okay to be weak sometimes because it's still part of the process. So, having to talk with this friend, so we exchanged stories, we exchanged experiences, and I realized each individual has their own unique ways of processing things. This person has a different step, this person has a different timeline. And it's okay to share with each other what works for them or what might not work for them. And it's fine if you don't agree on certain things. And it's just a great reminder for me that no journey is the same. People who have mental health disorders doesn't have to have the same steps of processing of healing with another person. Not all people who are struggling with mental health disorders are being heard. It's not always that these people have support system. It's not always that these people are being heard. And it's not always that you think this person is receiving the same love, the same, comfort, the same listening ear. And it differs from one person to another. I may be sharing with you guys my journey, but to be honest, not all of my friends are acknowledging or even comforting me. I'm not saying that I hate them for this, but I just want to put it out there that not every person is being heard. Not every person is being approached. People who know someone who is struggling, they should not worry or they should not be afraid in approaching these people, because what these people need is just a listening ear, and it really cheers up a person. There would just be days that it would feel overwhelming and isolating and even deafening. It's either extreme silence or extreme noise from your thoughts. So there's never in between. And it's overwhelming. It's heavy to deal with. Mental health is something that really struggled most this 2020. For my content creation, I was actually really planning a lot of things to produce, like podcast, vlogs, and I ended up not even doing a single thing for this day because of this anxiety attack. But I just reminded myself that these or my content creation journey is based on my own deadlines, based on my own tasks. So I really do not have to rush on these things, and I just have to listen to my body, work my way through this anxiety or depression, because I should not suppress or I should not ignore my symptoms. And when it comes to my mental health struggles, I really want to embrace everything, all the hurt, all the pain. I really want to process every little thing, every little detail, because it's really part of my process. This is what works for me. And it's very important that you know what works for yourself, because it's only you that can help yourself. It's only you that can, really get up and fight. And what I have right now may not be as bright that I can see it, or it's giving me a dark world again, but I'm pretty sure that, and I'm pretty positive and I'm faithful that there's really a light at the end of the tunnel. That's why I'm still positive despite this negativity in me. And my number one priority with my mental health is really processing these emotions, these feelings, whatever emotion that I have, and really go through the healing process. There is just this need for me to go through one thing over another and one thing over another and not simultaneously dealing everything, because it might get overwhelming and it might get heavy, and the weight of it could lead me to explode, which is the worst. So again, it may not be as clear as I would want it to be. It may not be as bright as I would hope it would be, but I'm pretty sure that I would surpass all of this. I'm pretty positive despite the negativity in me. Deep in my heart, I really know that there's a purpose for this. There's a reason for this. So overall, the reason why I was not, or why I was missing a couple of episodes for the entire month of December, was that I was dealing with a lot of episodes like anxiety episode, depression, and this Christmas season may be different this year, and it really affected me, and I'm not ashamed of that. I just tried it out, I just accepted it, and I moved on. After the previous episode, I decided to produce more podcasts away from these mental health issues. But guess what? This is the main focus of my life right now, and I remember the reason why I began this podcast was to really process my way through my mental health struggles. So, yeah, as you can see, it's either my mental health issues or, some of my blog entries. So, this podcast episode has come to an end. So, I hope you learned something about mental health. And yeah, this is an episode entitled Here Comes Another Attack. I hope you enjoyed this one. See you on the next podcast. Bye!